Hey there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another Blu-ray and DVD update. This is actually, thankfully, past one of the coldest days ever that sweep the country. Would have done this early, but I was waiting for a couple more things to arrive. So let's get right into it. These just arrived today. That's why they're still in the plastic, so I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. First off, Death Machine. This is a Blu-ray from overseas. Sadly, in the US, you can only get this on a DVD that I believe is full frame, which is lame because the best way to watch this is in widescreen. And you can't even get that in the US unless you buy from overseas. So there's not a good release of the film in the US. It's a bare bones, full frame DVD. You can get a widescreen DVD overseas, which I do have, and like I said, you can get this, which is nice. It was from a company called Rare Waves, got it off eBay, arrived safely. Sadly, no features. From what I understand, Stephen Norrington doesn't want to talk about this film. I have no idea why. I guarantee you this is the film that got him the job of directing Blade. It's a damn good movie. I found this out a long time ago, this movie, from my two good friends, Effrey and Mike. Effrey and Mike OCP. They told me about this film years and years ago. I'm like, I never heard of this film. Checked it out, really enjoyed it. It's a very underrated gem of the 90s. I think, yeah, it has a bit of a slow burn, but I was fine with it because I thought the cast did a good job. I like the lead lady. Brad Dourif is fun as the human villain. It has a good production value, like the directing wise, and I like the location in this one high-rise building. You have some massive firepower. You have this really cool looking metal machine creature wreaking havoc inside this building where these people are trapped. It's a very quirky, eccentric humor involved in the film, which might turn some people off, but I actually really appreciate some of the quirky humor. There's some references to some characters' names. I think like one guy's name Ridley, and as like Ridley Scott. And there's other references I can't think of off the top of my head. You can tell that anime was a certain influence on this because at one point they find this suit that they put this guy in to try to fight the creature, and that definitely reminds me of an anime situation. There's references to video games. I swear this one guy here says, Shoryuken, the Street Fighter. And that might turn people off, but I thought it was handled better here than, say, the Predator. Like that humor. Because at the end of the day, it's still, there's fun humor, but I keep using the word quirky, that's the best way to describe it, but there's still a lot of seriousness too. And this is the 121-minute cut, so I don't remember which cut that is. Because there's like 3 cuts of the film. I think like the US is the shortest one. I think this might be the next level, because again, this is 121 minutes, but it's in widescreen. Check out the HD picture quality. The cover I like. It's the old school cover for the DVD, simple but effective. The metal hand and dripping with blood. So definitely looking forward to see what this looks like in HD. Wish it had features. No release in the US on Blu-ray. Bullshit, but what can we do? Yeah, I don't know why Stephen Norrington doesn't want to talk about it. Some say, oh, it's a certain cut. Well, then pick which fucking cut he wants and then have him talk about that cut. Not that fucking hard. Well, some of the actors and the effects guys, there's someone that could be interviewed for Death Machine. Come on. Next up is Body Snatchers. To me, the best Body Snatchers movie. I don't mind the other ones from the 50s and the 70s. I don't mind those two. The Invasion with Nicole Kidman I thought was pretty lame. There was one that was similar. It was based on Robert A. Heinlein, The Puppet Masters. But it's made around the same time as this. I think that was 94 and this was 93. That one had Donald Sutherland. And I think that had Keith David, while this has Gabrielle Anwar, Forrest Whitaker, Meg Tilly. Really enjoy this. Directed by Abel Ferrara, the same guy who did Bad Lieutenant. And I thought it had some really good effects, had some really creepy images, really good sequences. We don't go, we don't run, we don't hide, nowhere, because there's no one like you left. Meg Tilly does a much better job of that than I could. I just love that line reading that she does, and the line in general. I like the fact it took place on a military base, thought that was a cool choice for a location to set this type of movie. It has some pretty decent surprises, and I wish this had features, but it's Warner Archive, so you're not going to get features. Uh, Last Warner Archive I got was Showdown Low Tokyo, and that had pretty good picture quality, so I just wanted this by itself. I had it in a 4-pack DVD that was like a flipper disc. So to see it in HD and have it by itself, well, you know what? This is one of the more underrated horror films of the 90s. And again, in my opinion, the best Body Snatchers film. Definitely the one I prefer. Because everyone always talks about the 50s and 70s. I don't mind those, but I put my money on this one as the one I would watch the most out of all of them. Now this one I was reminded that this was released by a very great guy, Fabio, the Italian Stallion 51, which he made some very cool videos, updates, reviews, and I forget which update it was, but he had shown this. I'm like, oh, I forgot that was even out. And I think he even sent like a comment, oh, I want to pick that up someday. I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I won't pick it up now. Because I do enjoy this film. I'm not sure if you pronounce it Olivier Gruner, because some trailers say Oliver Gruner, others say Olivier Gruner, so I'll just say Olivier Gruner for the sake of argument. I like him. You know, I like Automatic, which I reviewed on here on the channel. I like Angel Town, which I know got a Blu-ray. I'm fine with the DVD I have right now. Maybe I'll pick that up one day. I don't know why Gruner did not do an interview for any of this stuff. It's not like Gruner is busy. I mean, think about it. Is Gruner really that busy? So why would he not talk about Angel Town or Nemesis, like two of his best movies? I guarantee you those are the movies he's probably the most proud of. Does he just not? I don't understand it. Someone can feel free to let me know. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't want to talk about Hollywood because he had a bad experience with being fucked over by the entertainment business. I don't know. But this is definitely one of Elba Pion's better movies. This and Cyborg, and The Sword and the Sorcerer, and Dollman. This has a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack. I like the look of the cover. It's like a VHS cover with the stickers. Quite a few features. HD, 1080p. New interview with producer Eric Carson. New interview with Elba Pion. Nemesis 2.0 director's cut with director's commentary. There's a Japanese extended cut. Someone's going to have to explain to me these different cuts because it says that the theatrical cut is 96 minutes long, right? You can't see it, it's blurry, but it says 96 minutes. But it says the Japanese extended cut is 95 minutes. So how's an extended cut if it's shorter? You know what I mean? Like, can someone explain this to me? Like, what the difference is? And the extended cuts are standard definition. I guess the only HD is the theatrical cut. Would have been nice if the other versions were HD as well. You have the features that you get from the older releases, the intro with Elba Pion, like a 3-minute intro with Gruner. This is probably like when the movie was coming out. Little making ofs. They're like 2 minutes long a piece. Collectible mini poster, TV spots. Probably the most features that you get out of it. Yeah, it's too bad Gruner doesn't want to talk about it. But if anyone has information on all these alternate cuts, like the Japanese extended cut, and then the Nemesis 2.0 director's cut, please let me know what the difference is between all of these cuts. I guess 3 cuts. Theatrical, the 2.0, and the Japanese cut. Because I don't know shit about it. But nice to have it on Blu-ray. It deserves it. Damn good movie if you've never seen it. It shows what you can do with a low budget, I'll tell you that much. It really shows what you can do with a small budget. You get a lot of bang for your buck. Next up is the new Stream Factory release of Streamers. Even though I have problems with Stream Factory with some of their bullshit, I must admit from time to time, the idea of release that interests me. Now, I obviously haven't opened it yet, so I can't tell you how good or bad it is, but I only had the film on DVD and a full frame, so to see it widescreen and HD should be good. Should be. I don't mind this cover as well. I remember that being the theatrical poster. The last dream you hear will be your own. And there's interviews with the director Christian Duguay, producer Tom Barry, co-writer Miguel Tejada Flores, and I think there's an interview with Jennifer Rubin. I believe so. And a trailer. I don't know what Peter Weller's problem is, why he doesn't want to interview or be interviewed for stuff. The guy's not that busy. I don't give a fuck what he's professing. Being a professor. Even in the span of a week, you have enough time for 2 hours to sit down, talk 15 minutes on Streamers, talk 15 minutes on Leviathan, you can talk 10 minutes on 50-50. If you talk about Buckaroo Banzai, which I like, but I like these other movies more than Buckaroo Banzai, but I don't mind it. You should talk about this movie. It's a good film. You can talk about Leviathan. You can talk about other stuff. I like Peter Weller, but sometimes he seems like a fucking dick. Get off your high horse, sit your ass down, and talk about some of these fucking movies, man. Then you're not that fucking busy. Just my own blunt opinion on that. Next up is Rituals on Blu-ray. This is from Scorpion Releasing. Got this off the website Ronin Flix, Roninflix. They shipped it out very quickly. It arrived quickly, and it even arrived in like a box with newspaper, which is nice because it didn't flop around much. Also, what's cool about it, you have, this is the co-red DVD cover. That's the flip side. It came with a little fridge magnet, which is pretty cool. It has a little poster that you can unravel and hang up if you want. And I actually don't mind this cover. Granted, it makes it seem more like an action film than it is, but I think it's a pretty cool cover. And I love the film. Rituals is a very underrated movie. I haven't had a chance to look at it, so I can't give you a review of the Blu-ray, but I flipped through it, and from flipping through it, I didn't notice any audio issues. It does have the features from the DVD, the commentary with Lawrence Dane and the moderator, interviews with Lawrence Dane and Robin Gamble, trailers. It says brand new 2018 HD scan of the best film elements available in widescreen. So, uncut, uncensored, from a vault element from the producer. But I really love Rituals. I reviewed this film on my channel. Feel free to check out my review. I think this is an underrated gem. I think this hits the shit out of Deliverance. Rest in peace, Burt Reynolds. I enjoyed quite a few of his films. Deliverance is not one of them. I think Southern Comfort is a much better movie. I think this film is a much better movie. Deliverance, I think, is overrated. I don't give a shit about the and the ending is fucking boring and anticlimactic, in my opinion. I didn't feel suspense when they're just waiting for the fucking cop, and then they drive by, and then they go home, and then the movie's over. This finale I thought was, and the finale Southern Comfort I got more out of than this. And there's other problems I have with Deliverance, but I think it's overrated. I think Southern Comfort is a much better film. I think Rituals is a much better film. That's just my opinion. There's other better Burt Reynolds films, in my opinion. Deliverance. Next up, and again, it's nice to see this got a Blu-ray release. Richly deserved. Very nice to see that. Same with some of these others, like Nemesis and Streamers. I see them get Blu-ray releases. Yeah, those movies deserve it. Picked this up for $2. Revenge. This was on my top 10 favorite films of 2018. I didn't review it because I didn't have time, but I will say this is a damn good revenge movie. It's beautifully filmed and photographed. The acting is pretty much a French film. I mean, people talk in English, but it's a French production. I believe it's directed by a woman, and the reason I mention that is where the fuck is her name? Why is it so hard to find? Debut director Coralie Fardiat. People want to pimp out Patty Jenkins and Wonder Woman in her direction. No, you should be talking about Coralie. I can't say her name. Fardiat. Which I agree with this. Injects fresh blood with such force that genre might never be the same. Not that far, but it injects fresh blood with a lot of force. I agree with that part. Like, this is a female director since when you get on this high horse. Talk about this film and this director who has to be female. Give her some props. She deserves more props for this film than fucking Patty Cates did for Wonder Woman. This one kicked the shit out of Wonder Woman. This movie kissed the shit out of Wonder Woman. You want to see a fucking strong woman? Watch this. This is the real Wonder Woman. This is Wonder Woman. She's so wonderful that she gets a fucking wound and she like heals herself. That puts Rambo 3 to shame. Now Rambo 3 is a better movie, and I love Rambo 3. But you know how he like healed himself? This is even more like. Ugh. If you've seen the film, you know what I mean. If you don't, watch it yourself. You'll find out. It's a simple story, but done very effectively. This is what I Spit in Your Grave should have been. Any of the I Spit in Your Grave movies. The original, the remakes, sequels or remakes. Very underrated film. Didn't get the respect it deserved last year. I want to review this sometime when I get the time, because I'm in the middle of doing the Dolph Marathon, but good flick. If you haven't seen it, if you like revenge films, definitely check it out. Pretty bloody, pretty badass. Next up is the original DVD of Weird Science. Now you may be wondering, why did I get the original DVD? I do have the newer DVD with the features, has an interview with Anthony Michael Hall, but there is a reason for that. Try to find the best way to explain it. When Weird Science went to VHS, which is how I always saw it growing up, never saw it in the theater, they had to change music because they couldn't get the rights to these certain pieces of music that was only in the theatrical version. So for all the times I saw on VHS, I heard, in particular, two scenes. When Robert Downey Jr. and his buddy, I think it's Robert Russler from Elm Street 2, they see her on an escalator. The way I always heard that music, which is on this, is the Oingo Boingo song, Weird Science, which I love that song. But if you get the newer DVDs and the Blu-rays, they put it back to what it was in the theatrical cut, which was Pretty Woman. Pretty woman walking down the street. I didn't know this until I picked up that DVD with the features, and I was watching it. I'm like, what the fuck is this song doing here? I don't care for the Pretty Woman song. And people are like, well, that's how it was in the theatrical cut, so they reinstated it. You know, it's what it was. It's how it was shown in theaters. So this is the way it should be. And I'm like, fuck that. I don't like that song. I like the Weird Science song. Same thing as at the very end of the film, when they show her as the new gym teacher, and then it cuts to the credits, or freeze frames and credits. It's the fucking Rocky music. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I remember that being the Weird Science music. It's like, well, again, that was in the theatrical cut had the Rocky theme, so they put that back in. So if you get the DVDs, the newer ones, and the Blu-rays, this has the Weird Science song in all those places, which is what I prefer. So, and the only way you can get the VHS version on DVD is with this. And this is Image Entertainment. This is the one. Plus, I like this cover better, too. It's the theatrical poster. And the DVD looked fine. It was in widescreen. Picture quality looked fine. I thought just as fine as the newer DVDs. At least it didn't bother me. Again, it has the better cover. It's the VHS version with the VHS music, the Oingo Boingo Weird Science, and all the stuff. It's still, in both copies, both versions, it's still at the very beginning and very end of the end credits of the movie, but it's just those other places, I guess they put back to their original theatrical version, but I prefer the VHS version. Plus, if you get the DVD, and it might be the Blu-ray as well, there's one weird edit thing where Anthony Michael Hall, they'll look on the computer. If you own the newer DVD, go to the scene and tell me I'm wrong or not. When they're making the woman on the computer and they show the graph of the tits and they go up, and Anthony Michael Hall is like, anything bigger than a handful, you're risking a spring ton. That line, I swear, is missing in some of those newer DVDs and Blu-rays. Like, there's a weird, like, if you put the subtitles, it reads it, but hearing-wise, you don't hear that line. Again, you can feel free to tell me. Or maybe it's in the DVD but not the Blu-ray, or it's on the Blu-ray but not the DVD. There's something about that. I'm like, fuck that, I'll just have it and it's there. So, that's why I got this. Plus, I like these snapper cases. It makes it feel durable. That's a nice picture. Again, you have it's the VHS version with the original, well, to me, the VHS music, which I prefer. The line is in there. Better cover. So, yeah, the Image Entertainment version of Weird Science DVD. Let's see. Next up, I got Eddie Murphy's Raw. Now, saw this again, really enjoyed it. I think it's like the most popular concert film ever. And makes sense. It's hilarious. Funny. One of the better parts is talking about at the time how Johnny Carson got divorced and the lady wanted half. This, you cannot do this nowadays, sad to say. All these people, these cream puffs, who do, oh, I'm sorry, miss, about jokes and PC culture and being easily offended. Take those people and have them watch Eddie Murphy's Raw, and then heads will explode out of their ass. Hilarious, funny as hell, totally on PC. I definitely want to get the first one, Delirious, sometime. I definitely want to get that for my collection. But Raw, funny film. If I ever do an Eddie Murphy marathon, I'll definitely review this. My only issue, one, no features, which would be nice, but it's Paramount. They rarely give features. Hell, 48 Hours they can give features. But the other thing, I thought the last bit he told about getting a phone call from his dad, and his dad was so drunk that he couldn't remember the exact titles of the show tunes. I thought that one went on a bit too long. It just wasn't as funny as the other material. And that was the way it ended. I thought it was kind of a lackluster ending to a very stellar showcase. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not terrible, that last bit, but I thought it was, again, just the least funny bit, and that's how it ends. It just went on and on and on. I'm like, okay, just wrap it up a bit. Or go to something else that's funnier. But other than that, very good concert film. Really entertaining. Next up, grab this because I was curious about it, and also for the Mel Brooks collection, High Anxiety. So this is his take on Alfred Hitchcock movies. Pretty decent flick. Not as good, in my opinion, as Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles or Spaceballs, but it's still a fairly decent flick. Not too bad. Yeah, Madeline Kahn. Yeah, Madeline Kahn, Cloris Leachman, Harvey Korman. Pretty decent cast. Yeah, entertaining film. Yeah, not as good as the other stuff, but it was a pretty decent watch. Got a couple chuckles out of it. Definitely like to pick up more. I think I do have Robin Hood Men in Tights and Dracula Dead and Loving It, which I remember not minding those two. There's a couple I like to pick up. Silent Movie is one of them, but nice to have this for the Mel Brooks collection. I do like Mel Brooks. Good director, good writer. Speaking of comedies, the Kentucky Fried Movie. I could have sworn I had this, but it must have been one of those things where it wasn't working, and then I had to get rid of it, and then I never thought to get it again until now. But this is, in a weird way, a comedy anthology. In a weird way, it's a lot of separate little stories, fake commercials, fake movie trailers, a lot of like skits. The biggest one being a Enter the Dragon parody called A Fistful of Yen, starring the guy who would be Dirty Harry's partner in the Deadpool, the Asian guy in that. Which I didn't know. I'm like, he seems familiar. Oh, that's who it is. You have some little appearances by George Lazenby from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Bill Bixby from The Incredible Hulk, Donald Sutherland. This is by John Landis and written by Jerry Zucker, Jim Abrams, and David Zucker, some of the guys who helped make the Hot Shots movies and the Airplane films. I definitely want to get. This was fun to watch again. I definitely love the Big Jim Slade. Big Jim Slade. If you see the thing, you know what I'm talking about. If not, I definitely want to pick up more of these, especially Amazon Women on the Moon. That's definitely one I want to pick up and watch, because I've seen one or two bits, but I've never seen the whole thing. I definitely want to pick that up. Amazon Women on the Moon seems like a pretty fun one. I know there's other stuff like the Groove Tube, and there's other movies like this. Definitely a lot better than Movie 43 and that shit. It's like Scary Movie 5 and that crap. But Kentucky Fried Movie, pretty fun comedy. Got this for the collection of some of these actors. 2-1 Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Yes, that is Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo as drag queens. But it's a comedy that's, about tolerance, and they go land in this small town, and the small town, they help the small town, vice versa, one of those kind of movies. It's good-natured, it's pretty much harmless. I like Patrick Swayze, I like Wesley Snipes, I don't mind John Leguizamo. I got for the Wesley Snipes and Swayze collection. I miss Patrick Swayze. Funny enough, watching this again. Sorry, I'm just taking the sticker off. Wonder what that noise is. Number one, I think this was a decent sized hit. It was like number one at the box office for 2 weeks in a row. Stockard Channing's in the film. Also, I think it was Chris Penn. Yeah, Chris Penn's in the film. I thought that's who he was. And Robin Williams. I did not know this, but Robin Williams makes a little appearance in this. He has one scene with the three of them. I'm like, holy shit, it's Robin Williams. I didn't know that. I think I saw this once like, decades ago, maybe on cable. But in a way, nice to have this for the Robin Williams collection as well. I did not know, but that was a nice surprise. Because I miss Robin Williams, so I saw him like, oh yeah, that's really cool. This one I wasn't sure I'm picking up, but there's enough moments I don't mind that if it's for cheap, I'm fine with picking it up for the collection. And that's the Meg. Now, again, it was cheap for the Jason Statham collection. I like collecting stuff of certain actors and directors. Figured check this out in HD. I did watch it in. It's above average, and that's the thing. It should have been a better film than just above average. Granted, after seeing stuff like Shark Lake, which I'll get to that one. Now I'm doing the Dolph marathon, and Deep Blue Sea 2. This is miles better than that. This is a film that should have been a 9 or an 8.5, and instead was like a 5 or 5.5. Yeah, like a 5.5. Like there's the effects aren't that bad. Statham does a good job, but it should have been a lot more action. It should have been R-rated. It should have been bloody. And while the way Statham kills the shark is cool, this should have been so much more mayhem. Like, why do you have this big of a shark if you don't have it causing more mayhem than it does? What's the point? It might as well have been just the size of a regular shark. It should have been like those fucking Shark Attack 3s, whatever the fuck those movies are, with Insanity. That's what people were expecting, and you got sort of a almost kind of a dull affair, which is a fucking crime in itself. So I blame it on the director's a pansy for selling for the PG-13. It'd be like, I have a feeling Statham is pissed about it, because if you look up an interview when the film was coming out, he said when he took the film, the script was one thing. It was more action, it was R-rated. And in the middle of the film, they changed it to be more laughs and PG-13. And it's like he couldn't say anything because he's supposed to be selling the film. But if you look up its written interviews, you tell that he's upset that it's not R-rated, that it wasn't bloodier, and the script changed. Like, you just read between the lines. So I feel bad for Statham. I mean, he said yes. Statham does not have as much power as people think, because it's not like all of his films are hits. Like Crank 2, those films bombed. That's why you don't have a Crank 3. I love those movies. You know, Statham can only do what he can. Yeah, he's not. Sadly enough, not a bankable star. How many of his films recently have been hits? But I like Statham. I do like him. He does a good job. He's not sleepwalking through it. He's not pulling a Steven Seagal or anything. There's moments I don't mind. It's like a time waster, but it should have been so much more than that. That's my problem. And now we're getting to the stuff my good friend Mike OCP sent me. So, at the end of that, he sent me Sliders, Season 1 and 2, as well as Season 3. I remember watching this show decades ago on TV and liking the initial start of it. I would say like the first 2 seasons, pretty decent. The idea is Jerry O'Connell is this very smart guy. He's brilliant. Creates this wormhole that goes into parallel dimensions. Same Earth, different dimension. So there's stories like, what if penicillin was never founded? So yeah, there's this sickness going on. What if we didn't win the Revolutionary War? You know, what if it was still under England rules, so to speak? What if Prohibition never got overturned and it was still that gangster era in today's age? Like, interesting ideas, good cast. I hate, like, this looks cool, but the way this is set up is annoying, because if you pull this out and try to put it back in, good luck, because this thing will bend and the foam will block it, and then you're trying to fit it and the foam will block it some more. So you literally have to take the whole fucking thing out, put it in, then slide it. I mean, they try to be fancy. This is why they don't do stuff like this. Because when you take this out, I'm not going to because it was a pain to get it back on. Like, it comes out like this, the plastic. To try to put that in, again, this stuff's going to bend, and this, especially this stuff, it like bends like this, and you try to fit it in, and it blocks it. Like, and you're trying to, bad packaging. You know, it was decent to watch the first 2 seasons. Season 3 is where they started fucking up because, for one reason or another, John Rhys-Davies, he had some problems with the scripts, which I couldn't blame him because some of the ideas, like there was one trying to rip off Elm Street where, you know, people go into people's dreams, and there were ideas that could have been any show, could have been a fucking X-Files, could have been any show. And it's like, why is this on a show that's about parallel dimensions? And you have a fucking episode about Wizard. You have one episode where people land in a jungle and there's snakes. That could be any fucking show. That could be a fucking episode of Hawaii Five-0. Landing in a jungle and there's snakes. I mean, so I guess John Rhys-Davies got fired, so they kill his character off, which was the start of the end. And then they introduced Terry Wooer. Can never pronounce her name right. I don't mind her as an actress, but she wasn't a good fit here. And then her character got center stage, and then this lady started getting pulled out, it seemed. And then by season 4, which I'm thankful she did said, she disappears. They fired her. So, and then they introduced this whole story with these aliens that fucking slide as well, and it's like, no, you guys are overcomplicating it, and you're pissing people off, and firing people, and jumping the shark, and fucking things up, and it started with this, so this is a lame season. 4 and 5 are shitty seasons. And by the end of the final bit, even Jerry O'Connell's not on the show anymore. It's just this guy, Cleveland Derricks, I believe his name. He's the only one left. And it's funny, I think it was this one. This little making of that's like 13 minutes long. They interviewed Jerry O'Connell and Cleveland Derricks. And even they seem to admit that when John Rhys-Davies' character was gone, that was the beginning of the end. So it's like, did you read between the lines? Even they're like, yeah, it's after this it was over. And that hurt the show in retrospect, all the bullshit that went into it. Like, Jerry O'Connell's character merged with another version of himself, so thus like you have a different actor. This lady who I liked, she went to a breeding colony at the start of season 4 with these aliens. I'm like, wow, you literally fucked her over, literally. There's fucking someone over and then literally fucking them, breeding colony aliens. And it makes it hard to rewatch this stuff because, like, some shows you love so much you can overlook it. This is not like a favorite show of mine. It's a decent show, but I would say if you do watch it, just watch the first 2 seasons and quit there. But it's cool to have it for the collection, so I thank Mike for that. Pretty nice to have for the collection. Thank you. Next up is the first season of the X-Files on Blu-ray. I only have this on DVD. And you know what? The picture quality looked pretty good. I guess people complain that the night scenes are too dark, but I don't know. Didn't bother me that much. I was actually surprised by the picture quality. That does make me want to get the others on Blu-ray, but that's going to be a lot of money, and I already spent the money on this, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe one day if I ever get the other ones on Blu-ray, maybe I'll do like mini reviews of each episode, like each season. Like mini episode on blah blah blah. It'd be like, I don't know, 5 minutes long for each episode review. I would like to do it because I want to revisit this show, but I do want to revisit in HD quality now that I flipped through some of this, and again, looks really good. I was pleasantly surprised. So, maybe one day if I find these cheap, at least but they made a lot of seasons. That's a lot of stuff to get, so I don't know. But you look for deals and you work it up gradually. Firebirds is another one he sent me. I think he picked up a Blu-ray, so he sent me the DVD copy, which I'm fine with. I watched it again. It was okay. It was there. I mean, I didn't love the film. If you enjoyed Top Gun, you have a great time. Yeah, it's there. It's kind of Top Gun with helicopters. Nick Cage is fine. He's not. There's a couple scenes he's over the top, Nick Cage style, but overall he's pretty level-headed. Tommy Lee Jones is great. Sean Young, not the biggest Sean Young fan, but she's there. She does all right. She does all right. I don't know. Like, it has some cool helicopter stuff. Mostly it's a lot of training, and then you get like one battle at the end. Which, I mean, that's Top Gun as well. But that's the thing. I'm not the biggest Top Gun guy. Like, Top Gun's all right, but Top Gun I don't love either. So I think that's the thing. Like, Top Gun is all right, but it's not one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. Yeah, Top Gun I don't mind. Same with Fibers, I don't mind. But no features. It's in widescreen. It's worth one watch. If you like Top Gun, it's worth a watch. And then he had sent me some DVD-Rs, which I'm fine with DVD-Rs. First Man Ryan Gosling, definitely curious about that. Lucas, also known as the Bouncer, definitely curious about that. The Debt Collector Scott Adkins saw this, wasn't really a fan of it. The first half and the second half seemed like two different movies. I don't know. I don't know if I want to give stuff away because people would be pissed, but I don't know. The second half and the way it ended, I just wasn't a big fan of the Debt Collector. It just wasn't for me. They Still Call Me Bruce, the sequel to They Call Me Bruce, both starring Johnny Yoon. I like They Call Me Bruce. That's on DVD. I do have the DVD of it. This film never made a DVD. I mean, it is a step down from the first one, but there's a couple moments that made me chuckle. Not a great movie. Can't really call it a good movie, but a time waster. Yeah, I can watch it. Gun Shy. This is a Liam Neeson, Sandra Bullock film. Watched it. Pretty let down. They advertise it like Sandra Bullock's one of the stars, but she doesn't appear until like 30 minutes in. Then even then, I'd be surprised if she's in the film for 20 minutes total. Like, she's not in the film that much as the trailer leads you to believe. And I like Liam Neeson. Very forgettable film. And then I believe he got Blu-rays of these and he gave me the DVD copies, which is fine with me. The Slayer slash film didn't really care for. Has a couple of decent gore bits. You see the creature for like 30 seconds. Good design, but didn't give a shit about the characters. Didn't give a shit about the slow pacing. The ending I thought was really fucking lame. I don't want to give it away. It's not really downbeat, and not really a downbeat, and it's just I thought, like, what? One of those endings. I don't really get the hype for the Slayer. To me, it's like The Prowler. They're both slow-paced films that the only thing worth a shit is a couple of decent bits of gore. Like, this has a good pitchfork death. This does have a cool creature, again, you only see for like 30 seconds. And if you watch the trailer, you pretty much see that creature. All its screen time. See, the Slayer. But I'm glad I have it for the slasher film collection. Glad I have it for the collection of that. The Incubus. Again, saw it. Thought the trailer was better than the movie. I don't know, I wasn't really a big fan of the Incubus. Again, I thought the trailer was much better than the movie. Children, didn't get a chance to see this yet. Watched the features, though. My friend Mike, he was writing a book on 80s horror films. I hope he does go back to that one day. But I remember him not minding this, so Doesn't seem too bad of a film. Burnt Offerings, was not a fan of this movie. Yeah, hated the ending, hated, just overrated film in my opinion. Not just because of the ending, it's just the actors I wasn't big on. I'm not a big Karen Black person. Oliver Reed, he didn't do a bad job, I just didn't give a shit about his character. I didn't really give a shit about any of the characters. It just, it just made me go, I'd just rather watch The Changeling with George Scott. I'd rather watch a number of other movies. Legend of Hell House. I'd rather watch that. There's a lot of other movies I'd rather be watching than Burnt Offerings. It's kind of one of those things, but yeah, that's just my opinion. But either way, I know it's a long update, but I had quite a bit of stuff. So thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.